Welcome to the Seed Creative Podcast, the podcast where we discuss both video production and just life in general. The goal of this podcast is the same as the goal of our business, to make a difference in people's lives.
Hello and welcome to the Seed Creative Podcast. I am your host, Nick Golden, and my co-host, George Edmondson over here.
Hello.
This is our second podcast of the day, so we should be even better. So today we are talking about our goals for 2022 for Seed Creative. And last week we talked about how 2021 was, and we kind of went all over the place, but it was pretty hilarious, so you should check it out.
It was fun.
On all the podcast platforms and on YouTube, of course, so you should check it out. Anyway, George, tell me, what is your overall goal for Seed in 2022? Do you know?
Seed in 2022?
Yes.
Yeah, so there are some financial goals that I don't know, honestly, if I'm completely comfortable sharing.
You don't have to be specific if you don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have some pretty aggressive goals in terms of like gross revenue.
Can you talk about
that we want to hit?
Could you say the percent growth? Because that won't give away a number. Like you can say like, I want to do 20% more sales.
I mean, I want to double what we did last year.
Okay, there you go.
Because I think even already with the conversations that we've been having, I think that it's not probable, but it's possible.
Right.
And so I would rather be the kind of person that goes for the possible goal, but not the probable goal.
If you never try for a goal that isn't a little bit higher than your normal reach, you're not getting anywhere in the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always want to be realistic.
Right.
I mean, I always want things to be possible. I want it to be attainable. It's just going to be really, really hard to do it. But that's okay. It's not probable, but we're going to go for it. It's possible.
Right.
Now, if I were to say I want to do $50 million in gross, right? Well, that's not.
That is double what we did last year.
It's a little more than double. That is not possible. It's just not with the way that we do things and with a small 6-person team. So of course not. I'm not going to be stupid and ridiculous. But I will say, too, that, I mean, 50 million gross revenue is, I think it's possible in 10 years.
10 years from now?
Yeah.
Is that adjusted for inflation?
I mean, sure. I don't know.
Because
I'm just talking about, like, I think that I don't ever want there to be, like, a thought, like a cap on the way any of us think here.
Yeah.
To say, like, oh, we've gotten as big as we can, or we've done as much as we, like, I don't. That's ridiculous, I would even say, like, 20 years ago, would you have ever thought Atlanta would be doing more than Hollywood?
Well, I was
20 years ago. No,
I was 2.
Exactly.
20 years
so
ago.
Of course, you wouldn't have been thinking that. You were thinking about Teletubbies.
No, but 10 years ago, I was thinking about Clifford. But
yeah, even 10 years ago, like, you wouldn't have thought that. Yeah, in 2021, Atlanta did more than Hollywood in just overall production.
It's crazy. And, I got to visit there recently, actually, with a guy named David Irwin. He runs a lighting company there.
Mm-hmm.
They're the, I forget the exact wording he used, but basically they're the exclusive lighting contract for the entire, basically all of Atlanta. So they do, like, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And, so I got to visit the studios down there, and it was insane. Like, I've never seen much of the studios in LA, but I've seen pictures, and I can tell that, like, this is way more legit than anybody that isn't in the business knows about. Like,
right.
Crazy. In fact, like, I was there, and he pointed at Studio 4, I think it was, and they were like, yeah, they're doing reshoots on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 right there. Chris Pratt's in that building right there.
Was that the Tyler Perry Studios? Or
No, it's called Trilith Studios.
Okay.
He was like, yeah, Chris Pratt's in that building right there.
Yeah,
that's
insane.
I was like, what?
That's wild. When I went to Hollywood and was at the Red Studios, they had just wrapped up shooting like the latest Fast and the Furious movie, so that was super
Wow.
weird. But anyway, yeah. So in terms of just like nerdy like numbers, running a business, like
See.
I would love to double what we did, because like the reason why I say that it's possible is because my first year in business, in my second year of business, I had doubled my first year revenue. In my third year of business, I had doubled my second year in revenue. In my fourth year of business, I doubled my third year in revenue. And then it started to get where I started trying to like bring people on, and like I did, because we had kind of seen some growth and stuff. So I've yet to do that again, where I full on doubled what I had done the previous year. But again, because of the talent that we have, because of the connections that we've made, even because of some of the things that we're on, like we're not under contract yet, but like contracts are being written as we speak.
And we can
for
talk
some
about it
big
in a second,
stuff.
yeah.
I feel like doubling is possible.
So
Like this month, we've already done what I did in my first 3 years combined.
wow. So, but why do you want to do that? Like, obviously you can say, and I know you, and I know
Right.
why, but tell the people why you want to do that.
Yeah. So
It's not about you being able to take 4 extra vacations.
no.
Yeah.
No, because I'm going to take the vacations either way. So, no, I mean, there's, so selfishly George wants to, because, I selfishly would like to put my kids through college.
Yeah.
And,
what a jerk move to
I
put your
know,
kids
like
through
I
college.
would like to invest so that I can, retire one day. I mean, obviously, but yeah, I want Seed to make more money so that we can just make more of an impact in people's lives and make more of an impact. And when I say in people's lives, like that means you, that means
Yep.
Gavin, that means me. I mean, that means Jacob, like, but then it also means the people around us, and the people that we get to work with on videos. And so, money is one of those things that I purely look at as a tool. The more tools you have, the faster you can build bigger and better houses.
Right.
Like that's how I look at it. And so if we can do that, then, we can build bigger houses. We can do better things.
So that's a nice little transition. So I know, disclose as much as you care to. What is something that you've talked about doing in 5 years from now?
So
5 to 10 years. We'll say 5 to 10
sure,
years.
I think 5 to 10 is possible.
Possible.
5 is likely not probable. I think 10 is
A move
is probable.
towards what you're going to say.
Oh
It's
yeah,
possible.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that we do is towards a goal. So what's funny is I've been, I've been, I'm not gonna say made fun of, but I've had, been down talked about wanting to build a production team and a production studio, and why don't you just stay freelancer, or why, like, things like that. I mean, from my peers even. But I don't know. I just believe in it, and I believe that like Tuscaloosa can sustain that. It's like an "if you build it, they will come" mentality,
Yeah.
even though that's actually not technically the right saying. It's "if you build it, he will come," but still, that's true. Look it up. So,
I think they say at the end of the movie. I love.
it's "if you build it, he will come," but
yeah.
everyone says "if you build it, they will come."
But no, it's because people get it confused with the end when they say, he goes, "People will come, Ray," and he gives the big speech about like they'll be driving and they don't even know why, and they just decide to take this turn down this. That's an amazing movie.
I guess the whole movie though, he's saying "if you build it, he will come."
Yeah, that is the correct saying.
Anyway,
Watch Field of Dreams. It's amazing.
great
Anyway,
movie.
continue.
So I want that studio that we just, kind of just talked about. I mean, that's a real dream of mine. I really do want that, where when you're watching a behind the scenes movie, or a behind the scenes of a movie of some crazy, freaking green screen setup, and people are on robots riding around and doing all these crazy things, like some big Harry Potter movie or something. And it's like, oh, that was shot at Seed Creative Studios in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
So
That's what I want.
so at that point, would the business stop
Oh no.
being client production though, or would it just be big docs?
I think that, I mean,
Or would you have a team that does everything?
well, it's evident that as we've grown, our clients have grown with us.
Right.
But we have slowly tapered off some of the styles of production that we've done because we do have, a higher expectation. And I mean, there are just certain, that's like with any business, that's what you want. My first video I ever did, I think I charged $100 for,
Right.
or $150. Obviously, like, that's not sustainable, but, and so, like, it will continue to grow. But again, dude, like, if someone needs like a little quick video that we can shoot on one of our psych walls in the studio and it's not a big deal and someone has availability, like, of course we're going to do it. Like, why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? That's just like saying, I don't know, companies that do big catering gigs, like, they also have a drive-through.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can do both. It's just you have to be structured in a way to do it and do it efficiently and make it work.
Right.
So people come in here and they'll shoot little quick headshot. I mean, I shot headshots for a law firm last week, and I think the longest someone was in here was about 3 minutes.
Right.
Because we set it up so that they could walk in. We got a mirror right there. Check yourself. You look good to me. Click, click, click. All right, bye. Like, in and out. You know what I mean? And we do stuff like that, and we also do documentaries that take a year to make.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, or more. I mean, there was this one documentary that we did that actually won an Emmy.
It did?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So, and it took over a year to produce and create. True. So, again, I mean, backing up, that's my overall dream goal. Like, when I retire with, there's Seed Creative Studios with sound stages and backlots. Yeah. And it's
running
here.
On its own.
It's in Alabama. Yeah, it's running on its own. I mean, that's the other thing is Seed at this point is, basically at a point where if it had to run on its own, it could. And we've talked about this in other podcasts. Yep. So Seed doesn't necessarily have to have me other than, like, I'm doing all the client communications and stuff, but, like, Adam is on CC'd on every email anyway, so It's like he would just pick up where I left off in the conversation. He and Nicholas Coker did, a client meeting the other day where they were script writing and doing all this stuff, and I was not there. I was not part of it at all. And all I did was go back and just refer to the recording of it just to make sure I was in the loop.
Right.
But they were able to do it.
And that's a good thing.
We shot the video, and Adam is going to start editing it today. You know what I mean? Yep. So, some of the goals that I wanted, I've already hit. I've brought people on. It can run on its own. We're shooting on, good quality cinema cameras. We have a new studio with a psych wall.
Right.
Like, those were all goals. So everything that you see, the podcast finally is being made.
Yeah.
Everything that you see, viewer, or that you hear, listener, everything that is Seed Creative was once a goal.
Right.
And now it's a thing. And so I think that that's important for people to understand too. If you have goals right now, if you continue to chase after them and pursue them smartly with an intelligent way of doing it, it will be a thing. It won't be a goal anymore. It'll be real.
Right.
And it's really cool. The older I've gotten, I feel like I'm an old man, but I think we've talked about this before too. One of my goals when I was young was to be in a band. So I was in a band. And then my goal was, okay, I'm in a band. Now I want to record an album. So we recorded an album. And then, it'd be great to be on a record label. So we got signed. Man, I would love to tour. So we toured. I'd love to tour in Europe. So we toured in Europe. All of these things were goals. And now the thing is my ultimate goal was to be in a band, to tour in other parts of the world. And I did those things. And once I had done those things, there were other reasons, but it was also like I felt fulfilled. I felt like I've reached my goal. I'm good now. Let's go pursue other goals. You know, life is not over just because you had one goal and you fulfilled it. Like, okay, let's make some new goals and let's chase after those now. And so that's kind of where we are with Seed. Is I feel like in the totality of what Seed Creative is, we're at like 20% right now.
You think it's that high?
Yeah,
I thought it would be lower than that.
No, I feel like it's at 20% now. Because, I mean, I'm 35. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
I've been
not
doing it for
7 years.
Yeah.
So I'm not, like, ultra young. You know what I mean? But I'm not old either. Like, I think it's at about 20%. I've been doing it for 7 years. I feel like that's a fair about where it is. And I think, too, when I say that, and maybe this could surprise you, but I feel like the distance between where we are now and having sound stages is not as big as the distance of where I started versus where I am now.
Oh, I agree. It's exponential.
Right. And so, but that remaining 80% is like until I die. I guess that's kind of what I mean by that. So once we get in the studio, once we get in the sound stages, all of that stuff, that's like 60%.
Right.
You see what I mean? And then the other 40 is the remainder of us doing work in the big sound stages, doing work. You know what I mean? So that, I guess that's kind of to clarify.
So you're saying we're going to start building a sound stage in 5 years? Is that the plan?
Maybe.
Is that the attempt at least? Is that the goal?
I would love to, yeah.
Yeah. So how do we, so that's 5 years from now. So this is year one.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about what we're doing this year. So I know one.
Wait, I don't want to do that yet.
You don't want to do that yet?
No, I want to talk about personal goals too.
Okay.
Nick
What's
Golden.
my personal goals?
Nick Golden. What are some of your personal and just company focused goals? You know, within
2022.
Seed, within yourself, etc.
I want to graduate college.
Sure.
That's in May. Unless
Fingers crossed, he's getting bad grades.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
As long as I get C minuses, I will graduate with a 4.0. So I have to literally pass to. It's like all or nothing.
You're legitimately one of the smartest people I know, by the way. So I
don't
want
know if that's
everyone to
true.
know that he gets incredible grades. I was just messing with him.
I try, but yeah. So I want to do that. I want to figure my life out as much as I can start to. No one ever really fully figures it out, I don't think. And I want to stay with Seed as long as I can without leaving. That would be great. Everybody's like, oh, the podcast is gonna suck now if he leaves.
No, it won't suck. We just need you to get it going. We need you to get a gameplay or a workflow in place.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can talk about that a little bit. Like, it's no secret that there is the potential and likelihood that you will not always be like totally employed with Seed Creative.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I kind of see like a freelance future,
Right.
Probably where because I'll probably take a job somewhere that can just pay me more. Like, not that you pay me back. I'm just saying, like, you're not a giant corporation,
Right. Yeah, sure.
I don't mean anything by that, but
No. Well, and you're also not full time here.
yeah,
either.
also true. So there would be that, and then I could tell it. I've thought about it, like, oh, if I took a job in Tuscaloosa, I could at least like go on the big shoots with Seed still, because I don't want to leave.
Right.
But also, I could totally see something happening where I leave for a while, Seed grows, and then I come back.
Yeah.
Okay, that could happen too. Like, you're like, hey, I need a stage manager now,
Right.
and you know how stuff goes. You should come back. I'd be like, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've also talked about, like, when we talk about these things and talk about bigger opportunities and stuff, like one of the things that you've very seriously talked about is like moving to Europe and working for like Formula One and crap like that. Like, this is stuff that's like so beyond Seed Creative right now.
Yeah, and I mean that probably won't happen, but it's just like a thought.
Yeah.
And Mom, don't freak out. I haven't told her about that. It's not like a big thing. It's not like a big
just
thing.
we've talked about like, oh, that'd be cool if I could do it.
Yeah. I'm not actually doing it, Joe.
Yeah, he's not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I
but
won't let him.
she's already crying.
Sorry, Mom.
Anyway, it's just like a if it happened kind of thing. But that's obviously Seed isn't gonna. Well, maybe, I don't know. Make a documentary about Formula One. That'd be cool. Though.
See. Well, before you leave, just tell me how much it's going to cost to get you to stay, and maybe you will stay.
We'll see.
Who knows?
Well, the bidding will begin.
I'm not paying you as much as we could because you're still in college and you're young.
Fair.
And I know I can get you for cheap.
Fair. He pays me well, though, to be honest. I'm just keeping it real for what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what are that was kind of that was like sort of mixed, like both personal and business. So like, I guess within Seed Creative, like what are some of your goals that you can do to help, and when I say me, I don't necessarily mean me because I look at Seed as like a collective.
Yeah.
But like, what are some of the things that you can do to help push that trajectory forward in getting to like, I guess, kind of our quote ultimate goal right now, which is studios, soundstage, backlots?
Well, the more things that Seed does for itself, the more things it can do for others. So, like, we've been talking about building this podcast studio for like months now, and I don't know what you were thinking, but obviously it was going to take until we knew what we were sort of doing with this podcast in order to be able to make it a thing that Seed provides. And now we're working on that. So we're working on building a podcast studio in the back.
Right.
And I think that is something that's really important that can be a piece of something that goes into now, 5 years from now, this whole place is just a podcast studio because we moved to a soundstage where the main Seed Creative location isn't this anymore.
Right.
Or, similar to that, just continuing to push the brand because at a certain point it becomes a brand. It is a brand in a direction that is not staying this, like trying new things, trying new BTS styles or pictures or, TikTok, I don't know, stuff that we haven't tried yet that are, that we haven't like gone deep into it yet.
Yeah, we haven't pursued any of that.
And also just, I think us being open to any kind of client, like if they come to us with a crazy idea or we think of something and think, oh, we could go after this. Like this could be, I don't have anything specific, but something that's outside of the norm, which I feel like we're starting to do. Like there's one in particular, I won't say specifically, but I know what you posted on Facebook, so I know you're okay with saying this. Like we're talking with somebody that wants to do like a 2-year documentary, 12 episodes kind of thing. That is way outside of something that we have done.
Right.
Normally it's not a one-off, but it's like a one project, 5 or 6 videos max is like the biggest we've ever done if you don't count motion VFX. So
yeah, so we've done a similar thing actually before you got here. It was for a client called Gemini. And they are the ones that actually sent us to Australia for something, but I did a 1-year documentary series. It was 1 episode per month. But it was like mostly just me shooting, and then Adam came and Jacob came and helped with some of those, but it was like, the first episode was like my B cam was the 5D.
And it would involve maybe another person too, like possibly.
Right. For the... What are you talking about?
The new thing.
The new stuff, yeah. Yeah, the new stuff is much bigger, much bigger deal. It could involve like a global, worldwide, everyone will know who they are. Fuel company is like the sponsor of the series, and so yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and that honestly, like that, and then the documentary that the lawyers are kind of writing up right now that we're going to be doing with Jacksonville State University, like. Those things right there are why I think it's actually possible to double what we did last year.
Also, I feel like the other thing that I just felt a shift like in our conversations in the last like 4 months of it seems like we're talking about a lot more projects that aren't just Tuscaloosa anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Like it just seems like, and not like it hasn't happened, but we're talking about some stuff that we pitched some stuff to Motion VFX. We're talking about, the documentaries in Birmingham, that one of the ones that we're talking about. But stuff like that. And I just feel like we're expanding in that way, where like our reach is going to be further, and that's how it starts.
Right.
More people have to know about us in order for the money to exist to build a soundstage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe we can do a Formula One documentary. That'd be
Maybe.
awesome.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so anyway, those are honestly just, those are like big picture goals, but I think that it's important to talk about them realistically. Like, like I said earlier, not to just go nuts and just be like, I'm going to do this. I find that a lot of freelancers and younger people and I used to do this, tend to just be unrealistic. And it's like they're not self-aware enough to understand that, like, dude, you ain't doing that yet.
Right.
And something else that I just want to say, just from my own opinion, is I've heard a lot of people say, I'm going to get out of this town, I'm going to get out of here, and then I'll find success. And, this is the dumbest cliche saying, but like, the grass isn't greenest on the other side. The grass is the greenest where you water it.
Right.
I don't know if you've heard that before, but
similar stuff.
Yeah. There's a million ways to say it, but like, where you put your time and effort and energy and goals, that's where, things are going to grow. Where you plant the seed, like, that's where it's going to grow. And so if you're constantly planting a seed and then pulling it back up because it didn't grow fast enough, like, you're never going to have any fruit. Like, nothing's ever going to happen. And so I feel like, and I could be way off here, but with the style of video production that we do, the types of things that we do, I feel like Seed Creative honestly sort of generated the market in Tuscaloosa. I think that there were other people doing video production, before me, obviously, but in the way that we do things and really trying to not corporatize what we do, but make it more than a one freelancer or like a team of a couple guys that are also working in a marketing agency. You know what I mean? Where it's like very specific. We are video production, and that is what we do, and that is what we do well, and we are going to do it as big as we can. I feel like we kind of started that shift that there's a market for it in Tuscaloosa, and we had to educate people and clients that it was even a thing they needed.
Right.
Some people, when we started, Instagram didn't even have video support. Like, think about stuff like that. Like, how much things have grown. And so I'm really kind of fortunate that I got started when I did, because now as younger people like you are starting to come into, corporate America, like, they already kind of understand and see the value, and we're already in a position to be like, hopefully, like, kind of the go-to production company.
Right.
And again, I'm being careful with the way that I say this, because there are other freelancers here and there are other people that do what we do, and they do it very well. But if you want that full team experience, then, as of right now, I feel like we're doing a really good job of being strong in the market.
It's our style for sure. Like,
Yeah.
like it's like its own. I think the thing that makes people see us differently is our style. Like, not just in the way.
Not in the not
in the
necessarily
video.
in the final video. Yeah, it's all the stuff before.
Yeah, it's in the way we handle stuff. The way that, they're not just talking to like a marketing person that they call and they're like, yeah, a team of people will come out. No, it'll be like, you're on a Zoom call, you're the person that owns the company, you're talking to them directly, and I walk by in the background, and they're like, oh, this is Nick. And it's like, we're people. Like, like, this is Nick, he'll be there. Like,
Right.
yeah. And I'll be like, hey, how are you? Like, like, and it's a relationship kind of building thing that is, I feel like, kind of a trend in a lot of businesses in general, but that you kind of got in,
Early.
I won't say on the ground floor, but like
Pretty early.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty dang close.
And honestly, that was a goal, was to be a team of people, but like everyone, like they say the Seed Creative team, but it's like when someone says that, they know that means Nick Golden, Nicholas Coker,
Yeah.
Gavin Manning, Adam Honeycutt, Jacob Cantrell. They know the people behind it, and it's not this faceless corporation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Similarly, I feel like Red is, you know, a prime example of a company that can grow substantially but still maintain that feel, and that's kind of what I'm after. So I really look up to Jared Land and the way that he's done things that way. And when they say it's like a family, you know, we did a podcast a couple weeks ago with Jared. You need to go check that out. It truly does feel that way, and it really feels like you call them up, you shoot them an email, like they're the ones answering the email.
Yeah.
They are very hands-on, where most presidents of companies are not talking. They're not talking to the consumer of their product at all. And he's like, yeah, let's hop on a Zoom call and like figure out this camera question you had. You know,
Yeah.
dude, that's
If he can,
exactly
he
what I
will.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Surprised isn't the right word. I thought it was really cool how you two seemed very similar. Like, and he was saying stuff like that. Like he was saying like that he sees himself in you some, and I don't think that was arrogant in any way. I think he meant it as like there's like a like-mindedness there that I think, well, I'm hoping that Seed has. Obviously, we didn't grow as crazy fast and as crazy, like the coincidences and things that happened to Jared all that time was like insane. But yeah, I couldn't get over that. That was, we're like talking about a podcast, but
I know. Yeah, well, I mean, and in Jared's situation, keep in mind too, all circumstances, all situations are very unique. You know, he was very fortunate to have known the people that he knew, and he had people that were already like, hey, we've got these ideas, we can invest in it. You know, we haven't taken on investors. Like, we're not like a company that goes and takes out loans to buy cameras. We don't do any debt like that whatsoever. So, you know, it's just a different situation entirely. But that's where it's cool, because I did feel like that kind of connection where I was like looking not at myself in, 10 years, or, he's not that much older than us, believe it or not, but not looking at myself in 10, 15 years, whatever, but more like these are the styles and ways in which I want to do things. And I feel like if we just keep doing what we're doing, like, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's inevitable. You just keep, it's like slow. You don't move if you jump too quickly into things, you'll crash and burn. And so it's just a slow, let's buy a backpack.
Yeah.
And then let's buy a computer with iMovie. And then let's buy a 5D Mark III. And then let's buy a tripod. And then we'll buy Final Cut Pro. And it's like a one small step over and over and over and over every single day. One tiny little step toward your goal. And before you know it, you've reached those goals and you didn't realize you reached them because you're already thinking ahead to the next goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh crap. Like, you turn around and you look behind you and you see all these things that you've done. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that I did it because I didn't take the time to celebrate because I was too busy focused on the next round of things I wanted to accomplish.
And I was going to say this earlier, and I think this is a nice way to like tie it all together is, these 5-year goals, 10-year goals exist, but the way we look at projects is a very short term.
Yeah. Even
even if they are long projects, we're looking at the next project and maybe the project after that, not, what is 5 projects from now that we don't even know what it's going to be yet. We're focused on doing the best at what we're doing currently and preparing for what we're going to do next.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're already looking at, it scares me to start thinking about how many projects we have that we're kind of simultaneously tackling right now. But, Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we want to do. We like it's weird because I always look at the final date. Like, we always set goals of, all right, we're going to film, the last shoot day is this. Let's have a 2-week turnaround on the first draft. That's in our contract. Like, I make it where we have to do it that way.
Right.
Like, once that final date of filming is done, unless there's holidays, you know what I mean? Like, we look at it like work days. We got 2 weeks to pump out a first draft of whatever it's going to be. Yeah, that's it. So it's like when I take a project on, one of the first questions I ask is, when does this have to be released?
Right.
And when a client says, "Oh, it doesn't matter," I hate it. I hate that. It matters for us, like, because if we don't have some sort of a goal, end date, deadline, it could take forever, And so we're always like, okay, well, that just means 2 weeks that's when we get the things going. But I always am looking at it like if it's January and they say, okay, our deadline is March 30th. Okay, like I'm looking at March 30th now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not looking at like, okay, well, it's only January 16th, so we're good. I'm like, oh, bro, we gotta get it before March 30th.
Yeah,
we gotta get on it now. Let's immediately start this documentary stuff that we're gonna do with Jacksonville State University soon. Like I already know that the Drop Dead, like it's happening, it's premiering September, and I'm like, oh my God, like we got to get a contract.
We were talking about
now.
it before. Yeah.
Like we got to start booking stuff now. You know what I mean? Like we can't wait on such a big project. And so that's kind of just how I'm looking at things all the time, and it gets stressful sometimes because I'm like, sometimes we'll get ahead of ourselves, and then I'm like, all right, well, we're kind of finished.
Yeah.
Can't really start on the next project for a week, so
and we hate that.
Let's repaint the psych wall for the 50th time. I don't, you know what I mean?
Well, see, for us, it's like we're stressed if we're doing too much or too little, and we never are actually doing too little. But like, oh, we only have 3 projects to work on today. Oh man, what a relaxed, chill day that we have today.
Yeah, I mean, because we do like and we're sitting here doing podcasts and like taking our time and going to eat at Local Roots, which is amazing.
It was amazing.
Did you like it?
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Local Roots, so good.
The mac and cheese was very different. Like it was like, oh man.
They're probably one of those stories that would be cool to talk about at some point.
Yeah.
Started as a food truck, got their brick and mortar now. Pretty awesome.
Local food highlight instead of local artist. I don't know.
I feel like people that make food like with their own recipes and stuff are kind of like artists.
Oh, they definitely
They're
are.
mouth artists.
That's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like Cake Boss or something?
Oh yeah. I'm saying like, but like it's art like in flavor and not in look.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, dude, Ratatouille.
There you go.
Where you take
beautiful
the two
movie.
things together.
Yeah, dude, that's
man.
art. Yeah, I'll eat a piece of cheese and some fruit or something.
And you hear the jazz in your head. Yeah,
I do. Yeah. That was weird.
That was weird. Anyway, I think they get the point.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I mean, not on this one. I feel like it's just making it clear that we're not crazy. And because I feel like someone's going to hear that, especially if it's someone that's not from Tuscaloosa, and think, where the heck is Tuscaloosa? Like, they can't do that.
Well, that's our goal, is to put Tuscaloosa on the map.
Well, it's like,
boom.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, I have a couple of friends from Atlanta, and they're always saying stuff like, Atlanta, everybody always talks about Atlanta's always been this big, but it was nothing before the Olympics or like whatever. And obviously we're not the Olympics, but, Tuscaloosa's on the map because of Alabama football, basically, and the school, but it doesn't have to be just because of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing. Like Atlanta's rewritten itself to be a film town at this point almost, and other businesses. It's not every building was built as a set, but, it's happening here. I was very surprised when I came to Tuscaloosa how much like student film stuff is going on here. Like there's kind of a lot for a town that you wouldn't expect it from. And Alabama as a state is also pushing incentives. I've noted like they're trying, like it's not there yet, But, like everybody points to the movie Get Out because it was filmed in Alabama. And that was largely because Alabama's film office was becoming a thing, and they're trying. And I think people are coming around to something that all of us have known longer than that, which is that film is everywhere. We've said this many times, and that video is the future.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So I'm going to use an example of someone putting a place on the map that you would have never expected, but it's a thing now. So this is going to sound so weird, but another business couple, power couple that I admire a lot is Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Oh, yeah.
And think about what's the town? It's
Waco, Texas.
Waco, Texas, where Baylor is, right?
Waco was known for two things only, and that was Baylor and that crazy thing that happened with the Branch Davidians way years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Waco, Texas. Nobody's thinking nothing about Waco, Texas.
Nope.
And then along comes a very, let's be honest, just kind of a one-off little show that's going to last several seasons, HGTV, no big deal.
Small budget, easy.
Millions and millions of shows have come and passed like this, and you don't remember who these people are. You don't know. You just remember, oh, yeah, that show where, the husband and wife flip houses. Yeah, that was cool. What's next? Something was different about the way that they did it.
It was the shiplap.
It was the shiplap. And they turned into a freaking dynasty.
Yeah.
And they're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. They've got the freaking Magnolia Network. They have taken what they had, and they just slowly kept watering it and kept growing, and they had all these big plans for the silos that they built. If you don't know anything about them and what they've actually done, it's absolutely incredible.
It's super cool.
You need to go look it up and figure out more about them. But it's kind of I look at that I want to be like them, but with Seed Creative. I want it to be oh yeah, Tuscaloosa, where Seed Creative is, in the University of Alabama.
Right.
Why not? Why not dream that big? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. People will try to crush others' dreams, and again, there's this fine line of well, I mean, you've all heard this too. You're only crazy until it works, and then you're a genius or whatever. So a lot of people are gonna think that about us. They just are,
and it's okay. I have no reason to believe that it won't happen.
Right.
But it's okay that if we grow and it just doesn't quite get to the point that we're talking about, and that would be
we're still going to be bigger than we would if we wouldn't have had those crazy dreams.
Yeah, and I mean that would be a bummer a little bit if you never got there. But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with actually trying. So
sure.
It's the same thing. I'm sure they never thought. I mean they had the ideas, but I don't think they thought it was going to be as big as they. They didn't know that they were going to be this monument that now has a Discovery Channel TV show, and everybody in the world knows who. If you say Chip and Joanna Gaines, have you watched HGTV much? Do you know who Chip and Joanna Gaines are? Oh yeah, of course I know.
Fix It Upper, sure.
Yeah,
dude. I mean, look at when you walk in the Target here in Tuscaloosa, I don't know about percentage wise, but the entire right side of Target, the whole freaking right section, over half of it is dedicated to that Magnolia brand.
That's the furniture section of our. Sometimes it's flipped at different Targets,
but over half of it, for us, over half of the right side of the entire store is Magnolia stuff.
Yeah, basically a fourth of the store. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And how is that possible? This is just two people. There's nothing. Special is not the right word. There's nothing previously significant about them. They weren't millionaires that started an HGTV show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just a company that was really smart. And I mean, I think that, we've talked about this some, but I think that faith has a lot to do with it too. Their faith, and I believe that that's a legitimate thing, and I think that that's on our side as well. So, but yeah, I know we went rant a little bit, but I was honestly trying to fill the time.
I don't even know how long we went.
I don't know either. I like Chip and Joanna Gaines though.
Me too.
They're awesome.
They
Chip
are
is
awesome.
freaking hilarious.
I haven't watched any of their new stuff though. The last thing I've seen is their like Fixer Upper stuff. I haven't watched anything on Discovery or anything. But yeah. So our 5-year goal is to build a Magnolia Farms of Seed Creative.
Yes.
In
In Red Studio fashion.
That's
Within 5 years, I would like to get started on.
yeah. I mean, it's going to take 2 years to build something like that.
Probably longer than that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
we
look
better
at how
start
long the
now.
psych wall took. Hey, ayo.
We better start now then.
Yeah. Yeah, within 5 years, I'd like to start seeing that. I mean, I've already looked, like, ironically, before we moved into this place, I called around and looked at some warehouses and stuff like that, but it just nothing really fit right. And, you know, we don't have, like, an extra $1 million to just buy it. So.
Do you have a dream location that's like
Ooh. Ugh.
Like, is there empty land somewhere, or are you trying to build it in like downtown Tuscaloosa?
I mean, realistically, dream location is somewhere really close to this downtown.
Okay, but
sort
like,
of
what's
area.
realistic dream location? Like, where's their land that?
Realistic because I already know where some buildings are that it could happen.
Yeah.
That I've already called people and talked about.
Right.
And that's more on the industrial side
Right.
of Greensboro Avenue.
Right.
In between kind of where we are now, and there's like a movie theater.
Yeah.
Like if you kind of know, like the unfortunate part with some of that is there are train tracks and stuff. The fortunate part is because of where it is, it's actually a lot more affordable than you would think. But like the problem with me is even though we rent here, like when you go that big, like I want to own it.
Right.
And I don't do debt the way most people do.
Right. And that's
That's
that
both
has-
a blessing and a curse because we could probably be there now, but I just don't. I don't do that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think you're smart that way. I don't know. Debt scares me too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope that's. I mean, let's just hope that someone in downtown Tuscaloosa suddenly doesn't need their building anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's like super big and like I don't know.
Maybe someone will hear this podcast and God will just be like, "Hey, give this boy this warehouse."
They'll like sign.
give that
they'll
boy the
sign the
warehouse.
deed over and then just like immediately die.
Oh God.
They just like collapse. Like
I
if,
didn't
when
know.
I die.
Like that's not what I meant. But
no. I'm
Nick
kidding.
is crazy.
God calls them home right as
Oh
they sign
yeah.
over.
Make it. God calls them
Yeah,
home,
there you
and then
go.
it's okay.
You know, we're gonna own the university. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal is to own Bryant.
I'll tell you what. The football training center would be the perfect soundstage. It's like already ready for it. Just take the field out, boom, soundstage. Well, yeah, but
I guess this is how goals get generated, though. Is you just
Yeah.
talk about crazy stuff, and then you're like, "Hey, actually, a good idea would be here because
Yeah.
of this and this and this." You know, I almost, and Caleb, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, but if you were, I almost signed on to a big warehouse space
Right.
with Caleb O'Connor, the artist that we did that documentary on that won the Emmy.
that's twice. You're
That's
good for
twice.
2
I
episodes.
went in twice now. We almost signed a deal with him, and we were gonna have that big warehouse and start soundproofing and all that. And I'm glad I didn't because he ended up, for whatever reason, moving to California.
Right.
And then we would have been stuck in this lease agreement with someone that's not even there.
Yeah.
So
That would've been-
I'm glad that I guess it worked out for him and me, because if we would have both done it, it would have been like, oh crap. You know what I mean?
Neither
Like,
of you can do anything.
yeah. So I mean, it worked out, but I'm glad that I was like, I guess, and my wife had the foresight to say, maybe that's not a great idea right now. You know, because it was
Yeah.
a big warehouse, dude. It wasn't. Did you look at it with us?
I've never. You went there like right before I started.
It was like, I mean, you can shoot a movie in this place. It was freaking huge, but it was like, it needed a lot of work. I mean, there was stuff, you know, there were like lights falling out of the ceiling and
Right.
stuff. I mean, it would have been a big fixer upper. Hey,
Maybe Chip and Joanna Gaines can build our studio.
dude, what a great Chip and Joanna Gaines. If you're listening, we would love to collaborate with you. You could put it on your Magnolia Network. Guess what? We'll shoot it
the
for
TV
free.
show. Yeah.
We'll shoot it for free. All right, you talk about some goals. Here's my goal. Chip and Joanna. What we want to do is we find a space that is affordable for us right now. That is it needs a lot of work.
Like like one of those houses where it's actually worth like $300,000, but you buy it for $30,000 because it's like a shanty
Dilapidated.
town.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll get the warehouse, and then you come and you make it like beautiful and amazing, and you fix it up, and we will shoot it, and you just like you use that, so you don't have to pay the production crew.
Yeah.
You're like, we'll do all that. We'll do a classic trade deal.
Yeah.
I'm big on trades. I traded like literally 75% of the work done in this studio was traded. That's not a joke.
I work for somebody else 3 times a week because he trades me.
Yeah. That was kind of funny. And then you've got content. We've got a new fancy studio. Everyone is happy. What do you say?
And then, but see, would they be putting Tuscaloosa on the map though?
No, we would. It was our idea.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
They might. There's a 1% chance that they see this and do it. There's a 1% chance they see this. It's like
which 1% is high. But there's a chance.
Let's just at them and see what happens.
Yeah, at Chip and Joanna Gaines.
You know what? If you're listening to this, send this to Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yeah, everyone. Look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this snippet out.
I was going to say the same thing.
Just at Chip and Joanna Gaines, let's talk. We want you to help us with our studio.
It's not
which
impossible.
is so different. It's not a house, but y'all can
see
do it.
Creative Studios by Magnolia.
By Magnolia, yeah.
Yeah, right? That's a whole company.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. There we go.
Look.
Dude, I want to see this now.
Let's make it happen. How incredible would that video be? We'll do a documentary on Chip and Joanna Gaines.
I think they already got that.
They probably
already on that.
Crap.
We'll do the shots of Tuscaloosa with that. We have a red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most random podcast.
I love this.
I love
this
it.
This is the best part.
Yeah.
Who cares about our goals?
If you made it this far, this is how goals are generated.
I'm telling you, this is a good idea.
It's a good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not kidding. We're going to add them just for fun. Just see what happens.
Okay. Chip, dude, you are me 100%. The way he acts, like I annoy Christy so bad, and I can tell he annoys Joanna so bad. But like, it's all in good fun.
Yeah. And George did his own demo of the studio with his body because that's what Chip did in the show a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
I slammed myself into the walls.
Yeah.
All right, this got super weird, but I'm glad it did. Subscribe, like, comment, and most importantly, at Chip and Joanna Gaines with our podcast.
This is amazing. We're not kidding. We're kidding, but like we would, if they called us tomorrow, we would start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
All right.
I got to get a few deposit checks in, but so we can afford to actually go look at. Dude, we're locked in here for 5 years.
No. Hold on.
4 years.
No, this is just the headquarters. This is like
this
like
is
the
the
meeting
creative
space.
corporate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we got the studios down the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we got the van to transport clients back and forth.
Our $3,000 crappy ambulance.
Yeah, that we had to let warm up for the last whole podcast.
Dude, this is such a weird podcast.
Bro, we get in the best moods when we've done 2 of them.
Yeah, because we're tired.
The end of it. Anyway, all right, at Chip and Joanna Gaines, please, we can do this. I believe in this.
Why not?
There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that they think we sound like crazy people right now.
Well, we are crazy people.
Which is why, but trust us. Trust us. All right, that's it. That's what we're leaving at that. Chip and Joanna Gaines, call us. Bye.
This podcast was produced by Nick Golden with executive producer George Edmondson, edited by Nick Golden and Gavin Manning. Be sure to subscribe, drop a like and a comment. Tune in every Monday for brand new podcast content, and we'll see you on the next one.